Hey review family, keep it tight. My name is Jay Morse, the review guy, reviewing music for the love of music, and I'm back again to bring you another video. And in this one I'm covering the new Cattle Decapitation album entitled Death Atlas. So at this point, what can really be said about the artistic merit and the artistic trajectory of this San Diego band that was formed in 1996? Cattle Decapitation started off very humbly as a gore grind band, a very one-dimensional gore grind band, but a few of their artistic semblances has really stuck around for all of this time. Through the years, Travis Ryan, the lead vocalist, has really proven himself to be one of the best extreme metal vocalists you are going to find. He's always been a constant for the vocals for the band, but past that point, it's very evident that they've always possessed this level of misanthropy and general disdain for the human race and what they see as a lack of humility and morality and just our carelessness. The way we make abnormality normality, the way we make unorthodox behavior feel very orthodox, and how we're all just okay with it. They've been no strangers to talking about the mistreatment of animals, the mistreatment of the environment, just our general cockiness. They came out with their magnum opus Monolith of Inhumanity, where Travis Ryan was experimenting with these weird shrieked type of singing vocals, kind of black metal-ish vocals, and they were building upon some of the melodicism and progressions that they introduced to their sound on their album The Harvest Floor. But they kind of blew all of that out of the water with their last album, The Anthropocene Extinction, where they were found tackling even more deep end topics, and Travis Ryan once again proved himself to be one of the gnarliest vocalists you're gonna find. So with the singles that led up to the release of this album, as well as the album art and the overall general concept of the record itself, it really does feel like, much like their sound, Cattle Decapitation's concept is evolving just the same. It was all about the mistreatment of animals, it was all about the mistreatment of the environment, but then on the Anthropocene Extinction, they showcased all of these dead bodies in this very dystopian landscape. But here on Death Atlas, it's really reaching this fever pitch, this cataclysmic, catastrophic event, the point of no return, where this skeletal figure with a scythe, maybe Death himself, the Grim Reaper, is boasting this volcanic earth. It's dimly lighting this whole area that is just this massive hellscape. It's just Cattle Decapitation never waning when it comes to building their concepts up to this just unremarkable place. Unremarkable in the sense that some of the pictures that they paint of this grim future that they foresee, as well as nitpicking and pointing out these facets of our human behavior, it just is some of the most thought-provoking lyricism that you're going to find in extreme metal. I think one question a lot of people had going into Death Atlas is, was it going to be better, worse, the same as their previous records, and what was going to be their artistic progression past this point? Because every single record, they always seem to change up their sound in little ways, and Death Atlas is no different. If I had to pick out some of the major differences on Death Atlas, comparatively speaking, with their past material and their discography, the first thing would definitely be a lot more focus on melodicism. Very deep melodicism. Sometimes even black metal inspired atmosphere, which they have toyed around with, but on certain tracks like the self-titled track, it just goes full into that. And on the topic of Death Atlas, the self-titled track, it ends the whole record off in one of the strongest enders, maybe the strongest ender that I've heard on this entire year. It's so climactic in the best way possible, so cinematic in the way it is portrayed with all of this melodicism, and even clean vocals near the end. Yes, there are clean vocals on this record, but they don't come off corny, they don't come off as intrusive, they don't come off as obstructive to the general progression they're going through with their technicality or their heaviness. It somehow adds to their brutality. And I guess one final thing I can say about the track Death Atlas is those vocals, those shrieked vocals, reach a black metal timbre. Now look, I could talk until I'm blue in the face about how much I enjoyed the singles leading up to this record, One Day Closer to the End of the World, and Bring Back the Plague, and of course Death Atlas. Those songs are good. This is a 14-track, 55-minute album. which by far is the longest that the band has ever released. Cattle Decapitation has an insane track record at being one of the tightest, most well-produced bands of their breed, but they maintain quite a bit of catchiness and dynamics throughout their runtime, but you are getting hit with the usual blast beat drumming, and that kind of exposes one thing about Cattle Decapitation, and that is their consistency. Their insane aptitude to be able to craft these albums that are good for people that enjoy their music, but still have different types of experimentation that was not on the last album. This album is weird for me though. It's so weird. I love the concept behind this record. I love the lyrics on this record. I of course love Travis Ryan. I love the production. It's just those shrieked vocals a lot of time that are a little off-putting to me. On past releases, they would be on choruses, they'd be on bridges, you'd get these shrieked vocals. But here, it's just one steady thing, pretty much on every track. And while I will go on the record saying that most of the time it does pan out, there are certain times when it does come off a little bit corny, such as near the latter half of the Geoside. I mean, I love this track, I love this solo, but near the latter half, those singing vocals... The demented guitar riffs with that melodicism, it's just sometimes a little bit of a hard pill to swallow. Or when Travis Ryan is just singing, "Be still, Lord, beating." And that's not me bashing this at all, it's simply me making an observation. Most of these tracks, barring that melodicism, which is present throughout the whole record, you get sections on tracks like Vulturous, which are just so high octane, and this record keeps up that intensity, that tenacity. They go for the jugular. The tracks that are not necessarily the absolute best on the record are still really good, and the tracks that are really good are bomb-ass really good. The only track across the entire record that I somewhat am just a little iffy on in terms of my enjoyment is the track Finish Them, and it's mostly because it just feels like a slower song that is much shorter in the grander scheme of things. It doesn't even breach the 3-minute mark. Which, considering the gore grind and grindcore roots that Cattle Decapitation comes from, it feels funny for me to say that, but the point still holds. And on tracks like With All Disrespect, those clean vocals really do come off monstrous, especially with the lyrics across this whole record. No one hates the human race as much as this band. The pain they feel, the agony they feel, the suffering they feel, the disdain they feel, the resentment they feel, the misanthropy that all of this record just exudes is palpable. And on Time's Cruel Uncertain, which reaches the 5-minute and 32-second mark, those clean vocals are probably one of the more cleaner sections that they've ever done in terms of these vocals. Travis Ryan is pushing those vocals in particular, those shrieked singing vocals, into a direction that is a little bit more understandable and not so throaty and gargly. But don't get me wrong, you do get those on this record. And for a second, can I just mention the interlude tracks, the instrumental tracks? Like the starter, Anthropogenic End Transmission. It's great to open, it sounds so dystopian, but specifically I want to highlight the Unerasable Past. No track this entire year, one-on-one, this is the most emotional, an instrumental type track. There are some like vocals, but they're more spoken word, that just, this destroys my heart. It just really does get across that point that the world has ended. And as it slowly builds up to this beautiful crescendo where it just gets so much more powerful, and then the track right after it is the last track, Death Atlas. How can you put these two beside each other? You're killing me here. But killing me in a good way, like I want to be killed type of killing me way. This is an emotional thrill ride. It is brutally aggressive to the max. The production is stellar per usual. It doesn't go above and beyond to make it even more stellar, which I like. It still feels organic. It still feels like a band. The double bass drumming sounds great. The general bass work sounds great. The guitar work are just bone shredding at times. And Travis Ryan remains to be one of the best vocalists in the game. But if I had to say the one thing that keeps bringing me back to this record, the thing that's going to tie me to this record, much like many Cattle Decapitation records, the concept, the lyrics, the songwriting. There's really no one else in the game like this. And take these melodic bits, take these black metal bits, take these shrieked singing vocals, take the production style in this genre. Tell me who is doing this. Who is sounding like this? What band is doing what Cattle Decapitation is doing for Death Grind and Gore Grind? I'll shut up. I'm going to be giving this album a 9 out of 10. and that is a wrap. Have you heard this new Cattle Decapitation album, Death Atlas? If you have, let me know in the comment section below what you thought about it. I would love to discuss the record with you. Be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to join the review family today, and smash that notification bell to be notified of my future uploads. You know who it is. My name is Jay Morris, the Review Guy, and I'm signing off saying farewell.